Hello everyone, welcome back.
Okay, last week we finished up our final drawing and we cut out our body plan and our profile view and assembled a small, quick little model. And this illustrates what these body plan lines are and how they can be useful. Now, to build the boat full size, there are some things that we need to consider. Of course, we'll need to draw these stations from the body plan full size, but when we drew this boat initially, all of our lines were drawn to the outside of the planking. And so when we're building our molds to build the boat around, we're going to need to deduct the thickness of the planking and the thickness of the frames. So the way we're going to be building this boat is upside down over a mold, and the frames will be bent over the mold, and then we'll plank over those frames. So let's go take a look at what that may look like.
Okay, here's our boat. Her name's Leftover Gumbo. And here you can see what I was talking about. Here's our station molds in here. They're just plywood, 3/4 inch plywood, and the frames are bent over these ribands, which attach all of those plywood station molds together. So these frames are then what we attach our planking to. Here you can see here's the stem, and you can see the strongback, which all of the station molds are resting on. You can kind of see that they're all in plane together, resting on this strongback, which is then on a cart made out of 2x4s and casters. So up forward we have a form for our stem, which is bent and laminated, and that runs into the keel. The keel runs all the way back, and our frames meet up at the keel. And we have our transom back here. We have some of the planking on here. This boat is an old boat. It was this boat was started 2.5 years ago for a boat building competition, but we ended up breaking our planking material, and so we weren't able to finish, and so it's just sat idle for a couple years. And I've removed some of the old planking, and we'll finish it up here this summer.
Here's the original drawing for the boat that we're going to be building, and it's not complete. It's a little bit messy and a little faint. Hopefully you can see it, but here is our little model that we made, and to build this boat, we're going to want it to be upside down. It's going to make it a little bit easier for us. And but there's no straight surface to reference, to set the boat down and build up. So we're going to want to extend each one of these station molds to a common plane or line. And so in the in this profile view, I have a line parallel to our original baseline drawn all the way across. And that similarly would correspond to, let's see, what was that? It was, it's 2.5 feet off of our baseline is where this imaginary line up here is. And so in our body plan, we could draw a line 2.5 feet off of our baseline. And all of our stations would then extend up to this line. And that gives us the ability to rest this whole structure onto a flat surface. And that'll be our strong back. It's hard to see elsewhere in the video, but our strong back is going to be, it'll look kind of like a ladder. It's going to be a series of 2x6s on edge, 2 feet wide by 14 feet long, and with some supports running across it. And our station molds will rest on that strong back. And those station molds will then be tied together by a bunch of strips called ribbands. And that's what our framing stock will be bent around. Also, when drawing these out full size on our plywood or on our whatever stock we're going to be making our station molds out of, when drawing it full size, you'll want to deduct the thickness of the planking. In this case, it's 1/2 inch. So 1/2 inch planking, and then 3/4 of an inch for the frames. And so all along the edge, you'll want to deduct those thicknesses. One thing to look out for, though, is as things are running at an angle to your station mold, imagine viewing this is the planking. As it's running at an angle, it's going to be seemingly thicker. So if you're running at an aggressive angle, it won't be exactly 1/2 of an inch for your planking thickness. It may be a little bit thicker. So that's one thing to look out for and keep in mind when deducting thicknesses on your stations. And that's also a good reason to draw this out full size. Okay, next week we're going to be outside primarily working on that boat, and we're going to spend a little bit of time steaming. We're going to steam bend some pieces of oak, and then you can see how those oak frames take that tight curved shape. All right, take care, everyone.